getting ready to move from whole numbers to decimals. Last time we worked with dividing whole numbers, so I have a real quick review for you to do on your own. So go ahead and write these two problems out and hit pause, and we'll work it out when you come back. All right, so here are the answers to your review questions. For number 1, you should have gotten 841. And for number 2, you should have gotten 3,600. For this one, you really had to know your 12 times tables. So again, remember to keep studying those. It'll make this type of computation much faster. And then for this one, remember when you do the problem, you end up with 36 and you get a 0 remainder. But remember, you had nothing but zeros after that last digit of 4, so you had some empty spaces in. So since you had a remainder of 0 and nothing but zeros left in your number, the 2 zeros would have gone in your answer. All right? Hopefully you did well on that. Okay, let's move on to adding and subtracting decimals. Basically the same thing as adding and subtracting whole numbers, except now there's a decimal point involved. So really not that big of a deal. The one rule you have to remember with adding and subtracting decimals is you need to line up the decimal. So go ahead and start writing out these problems here. I've got 6 of them. I'm going to give you these 4 we'll work on together, and then the last 2 I'm going to give you as your own practice, okay? So go ahead and pause your video and write out your problems. We need to do our setup, and I'm going to stack them on top of each other just like we would do for whole numbers. So I'm going to start with the 2.93. It doesn't matter which number goes on the top or bottom. 2.93 plus 14.362. Now remember, I have to line up my decimal place. So 14 is going to go right here, and then 362 will go right after it. Now, when you line up the decimal place, that's where the decimal is going to be in your answer. So make sure they're lined up, because wherever they're lined up here, that's where it's going to be in your answer. All right, so we have a blank space here. Remember, if you have a blank space as part of your decimal, it's really just an invisible 0. So you can add that 0 there if it helps you, but you don't have to. So now all we have to do is add. You should end up with 17.292. Let's do the number 2. All right, go ahead and line it up. So this empty space here means I have a 0. Now I can go ahead and simply add my digits. Oops, wait, remember, put my decimal place for my answer. Okay, so it's going to be 231.02. Moving on to number 3, which is subtraction. With this one, it matters which number goes first. The first number here is always going to be the top number for your problem. So we have 6.021 minus 3.2. My empty spaces, I'll just go ahead and fill those in with zeros, and I'll bring my decimal point down to my answer. So go ahead and do your subtraction. Hopefully you ended up with 2.821. All right, moving on to number 4. I'm going to set my problem up. Go ahead and do the same. once you've got everything where you think it needs to be, go ahead and do your subtraction. Should have ended up with 503.48. All right, the next two problems, you go ahead and do those on your own and pause the video, and I'll work out the answers for you at the end. All right, so you should have ended up with, for number 5, 36.93, and for number 6, you should have ended up with 4.62. All right, so that's it for adding and subtracting decimals. Just remember that when you add, subtract decimals, you need to line up the decimal point because that's where it's going to be in your answer. Next video, we are going to work on multiplying decimals. All right, so I'll see you there.